Hello, ladies, gents, and everybody in between. This is your pal Wolfie. Still emotional as hell. After watching the latest episode of The Last of Us, episode 7, Left Behind. Now, I have been saying it. I have been saying it this whole time. How this is the episode I had been waiting for. Is the episode I wanted more than anything else. Not as much as it's not as much as season 2 for part 2, but for everything that has to do with part 1 of the game for season 1 of the show, this is what I couldn't wait for the most, because this was my Left Behind is my favorite DLC of all time, because it's the most emotionally connecting DLC I've ever played for my own personal life. And they nailed this episode so good. Like, I'm trying so hard. They nailed this episode so good. So it starts and ends and plays out just the same way as the DLC does, with, you know, Joel being hurt and Ellie getting him to safety. And then he's like telling her to leave him, and she goes to the door, and then, like, in that moment, she's hit back. She flashes back, and that's when we get to see her basically see the day before and the day of that she had gotten bitten. And first of all, I love that she punched that bitch Bethany. Like, yes, that's right. Ellie is like 2 feet tall, but she took your ass out and put you in stitches. That's my bitch right there. Love Ellie. That's my bitch right there. But yeah, like, so just fast forward. Let's just get to the meat and potatoes here. When Ellie breaks, when Ellie is interrupted by Riley breaking in, it scares the shit out of her. She knocks her over, something like that. I'm like, again, the DLC. This, like, that whole part they played this shit so fucking good. Oh, it was so goddamn good. So goddamn good. This is definitely, like, without a shadow of a doubt, my favorite episode of the whole season. I hoped it would be, and it was, because they just, everything from the way, so first of all, Storm Reed and Bella Ramsey, they played off each other with perfection. The chemistry was off the charts. Like, even though we had never met Riley before this, even though we had never heard anything about Riley before this, you can feel that instant connection the minute that they start talking to each other, interacting with each other. It was believable. It was sellable. There was nothing else they needed to do. They nailed it. If you hear purring, my cat is here. One of my many. The other one is over here. So you will hear that. I can't control it. They need to be near me. But yeah, so, like, between the jokes they throw at each other, and Riley obviously having, like, knowing that she's got these little bits of power over Ellie and using it to her advantage, and Ellie is like, okay, fine. And it's like, like, if that shit ain't relatable, and you don't need to even be gay to relate to that shit, because anybody on this planet, you got a crush on somebody and they ask you to do something for them, can you really say no? No, you can't. Like, you might want to, like, there's a part of you that wants to be rebellious about it. You can't. No, you can't. And don't you sit here and lie to me and act like you can, because you can't, bitch. Anyway. Anyway, so Riley takes advantage of that. And when she looks down and she sees the tape of Aha, so the band that sings the song Take Me On, instant fucking Last of Us Part 2 insert. I'm like, yes. First we got the inserts from last episode, then we got this insert. There's been, I love that there's been sprinkles of The Last of Us Part 2 in this season, which I like. It's like it's building up to all that shit, and I love it. I love it. But yeah, I mini screamed in the back of my head, and it screamed even further. But we'll get to that part too. But yeah, like, so they're catching up. They're making their way to wherever Riley was taking them, and like you can see that Ellie's, like, trying to hide how happy she is to see Riley, but she knows that there's more that she's not being told. So she's like she's like guarding herself. She's guarding herself as better as she can. But at the same time, she's just so happy to see the person that means the most to her in the world again. Because all that time she thought, like, so Riley was gone for like 3 weeks. She thought she was dead. So she's like, my person is back. And anybody who has that person in your life, when they're gone for a while and they come back, it's like when a dog sees their owner at the fucking door after they've been gone for a couple of minutes. It's like the best feeling in the world to see you again. Like, that's how she felt. And that's how she felt. So they've come across the dead body of the dude who accidentally, we know he didn't accidentally, he killed himself. And then they taking the sips of drinks back and forth. That's something that was in the DLC, where they find but in the DLC they were already in the mall. They found the bottle in a tent or something like that. There are like little bits of conversations that are in the DLC that I wish they had said in the show, but I get, like, it's not, doesn't have as much relevance. So I get it. It's unfortunately it wasn't one of the longer episodes. I wish that this would have been one of their long episodes. But I'm gonna guess that the long episodes are probably gonna be saved for like the last two, or at least the last episode, which we're getting to, because it's only 9 episodes altogether. So it's to next week and then the week after, and then that's it. But yeah, so these little sprinkles of conversations that I wish had been in there, but it's like, it's fine. Like, they weren't important. It's just, this little fangirl thing. It would have been nice to hear it. But once they get to the mall and she turned on them lights, and you see the look of shock and awe and joy in Ellie's face. It's like, and then Riley sees it. She's like, yep, that's exactly what I was going for. Like, her whole deal is, we need to make this the best night of our lives right now while we can. And I love that. Like, that was the whole essence of Left Behind. And they nailed all of it. And then so the outbreak started in 2003, if I'm not mistaken. Something around, like, I think that's what it was. I think, like, historically, like, the game, like, between the game and the universe, whatever, it's 2003, if I'm not mistaken. So you're seeing stores that were relevant to our world at that time. You saw the fucking Gap, Foot Locker, Victoria's Secret, GameStop, like, and then they had a fucking arcade. Like, yo, the mall. I was 13 in 2003. Yes, I was doing the same shit as them. The mall was the most magical fucking place on earth. That's where everybody went after school. That's where all the best memories that I can, like, anytime I think of my best memories of when I was a kid, it was going to the mall with my friends. So that's another reason why Left Behind is just so personal. It's because, as Ellie and her best friend / crush, that she's getting to go do this mundane, childish thing with, and just have an adventure with. And it's a simple, like, the mall is the simplest place in the world, but there's just so many memories that you can make. And that's what they're doing. They're just here in this place, in this wonderful place, making these memories, really fulfilling their youth. And you feel it, you love it. It's just, it just takes you back, man. It takes you back. And, like, seeing them checking out the stores and talking about all the shit, and I'm like, the Victoria's Secret scene had me rolling. Shit had me rolling. I'm like, oh boy, at least she put you on the spot. But at the same time, like, that was her way of, like, hinting at, like, that she, like Riley, it's Riley's way of hinting at that she liked Ellie and was trying, like, feeling the water. Is like, that was the thing, is like, again, if you're not in the club, then you don't really know what those kind of hints are like. And sometimes if you are in the club, but you're kind of dense to some social cues, you might not pick up on it too. Ellie is in the camp of in the club, kind of dense. So she's in the club, but not picking up the signals getting thrown at her by Riley, and it's hysterical. That's what we call a useless gay. That's a useless lesbian for you. And I'm in that club sometimes, most of the time, so I get it. I get it, Ellie. This is why you're my favorite character. But But yeah, like getting them to watching them play fucking Mortal Kombat. First of all, I like the fact that they actually like put power into the damn mall so that they could like, but they had a working they had a working fucking arcade that they could play games with coins and everything. I love the fact that she said she spent the whole day before trying to crack that fucking thing open so that they could play games. I'm like, that's a ride or die right there. A ride or die breaks down fucking machines so that y'all can get coins to play video games together. That is a ride or die right there. And that's why Riley is the shit. But but yeah, but the fact that Riley went through all that trouble to make sure that they could play together, I was like, yo, I fucking love this shit. And then we're playing Mortal Kombat 2. You know how many times I went to the fucking arcade? Like, there used to be an arcade next to my, like, in my neighborhood. All my friends would get together, or we would go to the bowling alley that's still somehow alive in my neighborhood, and we would go play the arcade there. Mortal Kombat was the first fucking thing we all jumped on, kicking each other's ass. Like, I felt that them playing that damn game. I'm like, yo, I felt that so much. I was sitting there excited, enjoying it, and I'm like, I got so excited about that. I totally skipped over the part where they fucking like they. So Ellie gets to go on an escalator for the first time, and they fucking play "Take Me On." I'm like, yes, The Last of Us Part 2, man. That's fucking right. Oh, I love that damn song. I love that song. Like, I love that song before the damn game. That game just rekindled my love for that song even fucking more. Like, anytime it plays, it played at work the other day and I almost lost my shit. I fucking love that damn song. And now it's even more special because of that game. But yeah, like, I had to make sure I put that nugget in there, but I was so happy to hear it when that song dropped. I was like, oh, that's fucking right. We on the elevator playing "Take Me On." That's it. But yeah, skip. And so after, they beat each other's ass in Mortal Kombat. Well, in the middle of them beating each other's ass in Mortal Kombat, we get to see, is it infected that is still in the mall that Riley must have missed when she was doing her sweep. And I'm like, because I was wondering how they were going to handle that. So in the game, it's not just one infected. The mall is like, has like a bunch of them. But I feel like where they were going with that is it's a much easier to miss one than to miss a whole heaping of them. So I think, because in the game, it doesn't really make much sense that they would make all that noise, knowing that so many of them could be around. It makes more sense in this one because they make it so that Riley has been bunking there for a while. She's been sweeping the area, but there's certain places that she didn't check or that she just missed and overlooked. And the area that she missed and overlooked just so happened to have an infected there. So, and that's the infected that changes everything. So yeah, they have their little moment there, and then they go where she gives her the fucking pun book. I fucking love that damn pun book. Like, I want to find a replica of that pun book so that I can have it in my massive Last of Us collection. And they're like saying they say some of the puns that was in the game. I was like, so one of the things in the game is if you like just stand around for a while, Ellie will I think is it Ellie or Riley? I think either one of them. I think it's Ellie. She'll pull out the pun book and start reading off of it, and it's funny. I'm skipping around so much. There's just so much to talk about in this fucking episode. I love this episode. The photo booth was perfect. They did that shit so perfectly. The poses and everything, and I love the fact that they fucked up on the first one. and then they had to quickly last minute. I used to do those with my friends. I used to do that with my dad. Like, I still have some of the little pictures that I took with people in those little photo booths back in the day in the mall or in the really old movie theaters. I used to have them. Jesus Christ, I'm feeling my age. But yeah, and then you fucking have them on the carousel, my heart, my little gay heart, was going crazy over that. Could you just see Ellie's just like staring at Riley like she's the whole world, and I'm like, oh, you little useless gay bitch, I love you so much. Like, I feel you, I feel you, I feel that. I know what that's like. I've been there so many goddamn times. I understand it. When you're like when you're just a gay teen and your best friend is like means the absolute world to you, come to find out they mean way more than you thought, and you don't know if they swing that way, and it's like, well, what if they don't? And now it's just unrequited and pondering, whatever you want to call it, and like there's nothing more relatable. There's like nothing fucking more relatable. Like, again, this is why I fucking love her character. But yeah, like, damn, there's so much. There's so much. I love this episode. But now I'm just rambling, so let me just get on to it. So we finally get to the part where Riley tells her the truth that she's actually leaving and going to Atlanta, and Ellie's upset because she's like, I just got you back, and now you're telling me I'm losing you again, but forever this time. And it like, it hurts, it hits. It's because it's like, you've been like, this is the one person in the world that you love, that you trust, that you want around in your life, and they're going away, and there's nothing that you can do about it. So of course she gets pissed off, she feels abandoned, so she runs off, and the poor girl has abandonment issues. What are you going to do? She's been mostly alone for her whole life. She lost everything before she was even able to have anything anyway. But it's like, can you really leave your best friend like that? No, you can't. So she turns around, she hears the screaming, thinking it's Riley. She runs to try and help her. And even I thought it was Riley, because I'm like, holy shit, the infected got to Riley. No, it was the fucking Halloween store. In the Halloween store. Like, that's one of the few parts I wish they would have spent a little bit more time in, only because it played such a big part in the game. So I kind of wish that there was a little bit more, but I get it. Again, I get it. It's a short run time. They have to fit what they can fit. The important part was that they had the exact masks, the exact replica of the masks, of the clown mask and the werewolf mask that Riley and Ellie use. And I fucking loved that, man. I love that so goddamn much. I'm like, there they are. They have it. Like, I love the fucking you don't understand how badly I've been looking for that fucking werewolf mask. I love that damn shit. But like, I wish they would have did the little roar scene. That shit would have been funny as hell, but they didn't do it. And but Riley had stolen her little Walkman and put on some more music. And they go and they dance in their masks and all that. And then you get to the scene, the little gay scene of them kissing for the first time. Ellie pretty much telling her that she loved her, she didn't want her to go. Riley agreeing to it, and when she's like, I'm sorry, and she's like, for what? And I'm like, word for word. It's simple, but it hits. It's so effective. And it's just, it's a beautiful fucking moment. It's my favorite moment in the goddamn series, and now we get to one of the worst moments, where the infected finds them and attacks them, and they both get bitten. I was smiling and cheering and having such a great time through that whole episode, and then as soon as he showed up, I'm like, this is it. Here it comes. And you guard yourself, you get yourself ready, because you know what's gonna happen, but at the same time, it still hits like a bitch when when Riley looks down and sees Ellie's arm, and then Ellie looks down and sees her arm and freaks out, and Riley shows her hand. So for this, they had it on the outside. In the game, it's on the inside. But yeah, it shows her hand, and she got bit too. And so where Riley is calm and kind of just collecting herself, coming to terms with what just happened, Ellie is going off the rails and breaking everything she can break. Bless you, kitty. And I mean, I would have had the same. I honestly would have been in the middle between them, as far as the way I would have reacted in that moment. And then we get to the scene. The scene I have been waiting for and dreading at the same time, because this is the one of the scenes that is probably the only scene in the whole series that I cried for. The only one, because it's just the way that you can see these two young folks just seeing their whole life pretty much flash before their eyes because of this. They just wanted to have some joy, some happiness together, and they achieved it. They got that. They had their best day that they could ever have, and then that is just cut short, just like that. And as far as they're both concerned, their entire lives has come to an end just like that in that one moment. And it's like damn, like that's how life fucking is. You just can't celebrate anything, because the minute you celebrate something bad is coming just around the corner. And but then Riley says her lines, and that was my biggest thing. It's like, if Riley didn't say the lines, I was gonna be upset. That was gonna be the one thing I fucking get upset about, because it's so important. Like, I can tell you word for word. I can tell you word for word, because those lines are like, those are some of my favorite lines in video games ever, and it sits with me all the fucking time. It sat with me since 2014 when I first fucking heard it in the Left Behind DLC. I've used it in music videos that I used to make back when I was a teen and used to make videos. And not a teen, I was a little bit older then, but like, there's a million ways we can die before today. There's a million ways we can die before tomorrow. Like, I'm gonna try not to just do all that, but she doesn't say every single line that I wanted her to say, but she says the important part, which is just whether it's 2 minutes or 2 days. Like, it's like I can't, like, I feel it so much. Like, she said the line so perfectly, and like, bravo to Storm Reed. She nailed Riley perfectly. She nailed that whole character so perfectly, and I couldn't have asked for a better person to play Riley. I really couldn't have. And they could just be all poetic and lose their minds together. I would start crying again, because I can't, like, and that every fucking, that's why it took me so long to say it, because every time I say it, it hits me so hard. Yeah. So yeah, this was Left Behind. This is gonna probably be my longest video, because there was just so much. There's so much about this episode. I could literally talk for hours about it, and I loved it. It was everything that I needed. Is everything that I wanted. This is a 10 out of 10 easy. Favorite episode, easy. I'm probably gonna rewatch this shit 1,000 fucking times, and I don't care. I'm like, this is. Now I really cannot wait for season 2, because first of all, Neil wrote this fucking episode. Love you, fucking Neil. He wrote this episode. He did it perfectly. So there's so many scenes in part 2 for season 2 that I'm really hoping that they have. And I after how the way that this has been going, I'm like, I really hope it's gonna be just as good, if not better. And I know it will be. So next week we get to finally go through the David saga, and then the episode after that is gonna be the hospital. The David saga I'm looking forward to a lot, as well. Other than Left Behind, that was the other portion I was looking forward to. Because David is fucking psychotic, and he's one of the best villains ever, because he's so human but psychotic at the same time. It's fucking crazy how they were able to balance that in a single character is insane. But yeah, that was episode 7, and I'm gonna probably go back and watch it again. So, support the video if you enjoyed it. Put a like. Subscribe if you like. It's not a necessity. But until next week, when we cover the next episode, peace.